Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping straight into something absolutely mind-blowing today, the deep, undeniable ties between mitochondria health and our species' lineage. We are going to look at the very architecture of human biology to understand how the deepest, most microscopic layers of our cells are actually interacting with the emotional fields all around us. Have you ever stopped to wonder where our ancestral memory actually lives? How trauma, resilience, and memory are physically stored in our bodies before we even develop brains or neural networks? It's a completely fascinating question. And to answer it, we have to look past the mind, past the nerves, and dive right down into the absolute foundation of our biology. So, here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover the mitochondrial motherline, the dendritic hinge, X-line versus Y-line architecture, strain on the species lineage, and finally, protecting the human seed. Let's get right into it. We begin at the true biological origin point of all human awareness. Part 1, the mitochondrial motherline. Okay, we all learned in high school that mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell, right? Well, scratch that. Our sources reveal they serve a much, much deeper function. Before there were dendrites, synapses, or hormones, there were mitochondria. This mitochondrial seed is literally a preneural, precognitive intelligence. And here's the truly incredible part. Fathers do not pass mitochondria to their children. Only women do. Because of this, women are essentially the biological librarians of our entire species. They carry this ancient vault that dictates our baseline emotional tone and our evolutionary continuity. What's truly wild is how this seed actually operates. Mitochondria don't use slow, linear nerve signals. They communicate at what the sources call scalar speed. We're talking instantaneous field coupling, resonance, and quantum tunneling. Based on the emotional and environmental data they pick up, these organelles make real-time decisions about whether your body should spend its precious energy repairing tissues or if it needs to mount a defense against the world. Ultimately, it's this maternal stress threshold that programs the developmental blueprint of a fetus. But a natural question pops up here. How exactly does this deep mitochondrial seed know what's happening in the emotional world outside the body? That brings us to part 2, the dendritic hinge. This is the exact moment where emotion becomes biology. Dendritic cells function as the literal hinge where your nervous system and your immune system meet. They are completely unique because they're the only immune cells whose behavior directly mirrors our identity structure. They physically shift what they do based on whether we feel emotionally safe and connected or threatened and isolated. This brilliantly lays out the emotional immune pipeline. First, an emotion is felt. Second, dendritic neurons in the brain fire. Third, they release cytokines, which our sources beautifully describe as the emotional language of the immune system. And finally, these cytokines instruct our T cells to become either peacemaking healers or aggressive warriors. Your emotions literally, physically form your immune identity. Which leads us straight into part 3, X-line versus Y-line architecture. Now you might be wondering, do masculine and feminine biologies process all of this emotional immune data the exact same way? The biological answer is a resounding no. So check out this specific difference in scale. The X chromosome packs nearly 900 functional genes, including absolutely vital immune regulators, while the Y chromosome contains only about 55. Because females carry 2 X chromosomes, with a percentage of genes escaping inactivation, the female nervous system gets a massive, and I mean massive, double dosage of dendritic and immune software compared to males. Let's break down what this structural difference actually means. The X-line, the feminine architecture, operates on scalar cognition, symbolized in the sources as the golden apple. It's an instantaneous, simultaneous knowing that senses the entire field. Its immune bias is immunogenic, meaning it prioritizes deep sensing and deep memory. The Y-line, the masculine architecture, uses light-speed cognition, symbolized by the golden spine. It's linear, sequential, and built for rapid action. Its immune bias is tolerogenic, meaning it is specifically built to quickly de-escalate and resolve information without heavy emotional imprinting. Think of it like this. The X-line strategy sees the whole room. The feminine nervous system evolved to sense, mirror, and metabolize the emotional state of the entire group. The Y-line strategy, on the flip side, sees the pathway inside the room. The masculine nervous system is perfectly optimized for direct focus, precision, and establishing a protective perimeter. They are completely different biological instruments designed for completely different biological jobs. And that brings us to a very serious question in part 4, strain on the species lineage. What happens to our biology when that deeply sensing X-line system is chronically silenced, overburdened, or just straight up ignored? Because the female immunogenic system is so incredibly sensitive, suppressing her emotional arcs comes with a devastating biological cost. It traps the body in chronic inflammation, causing the immune system to misclassify its own tissues as a threat. That is exactly why we're seeing women drive a staggering 80% of global autoimmune cases. It is literally an evolutionary defense response misdirected inward because of emotional silencing. And the strain doesn't stop there. Just look at these global health trends. Autism rates rising to roughly 1 in 36, preterm birth affecting 1 in 10 pregnancies, infertility impacting 1 in 5 women, surging maternal mortality. Our sources emphasize that these statistics aren't just random bad luck. They are biological alarm bells. They are signaling that the motherline's mitochondrial vaults are completely exhausted from metabolizing far too much environmental and generational weight. Through that dendritic filter we talked about earlier, unexpressed maternal stress physically translates into fetal instruction. The blueprint flips from "the world is safe, explore and grow" directly to "the world is unsafe, guard, brace, and survive." If this keeps up, the sources warn we risk a civilizational-level evolutionary halt, just perpetually trapped in a survival loop. Now, I know that's a heavy reality, but there is a clear, hopeful path forward. Let's move to part 5, protecting the human seed. How do we heal this biological code and restore the lineage? The solution requires both of these architectures working together. The Y-line masculine system must step up and act as the protective perimeter. By offering calm, non-reactive spinal voltage and regulating themselves through physical movement or external structures, men create a safe, grounded container. This container is absolutely required for the female X-line system to exit defense mode and do what it does best, metabolize the emotional field. Here is how this amazing healing cascade builds biologically. When a woman is safely allowed to complete an emotional arc, it kicks off a powerful regenerative process. Safe expression allows spinal fluid to clear stress waste out of the brain. This activates peacemaking Treg cells, resolving inflammation. Telomerase, the anti-aging enzyme, rises. And most importantly, the mitochondria update their instructions from inherited trauma back to cellular resilience. There's a quote from the source text that really hits the nail on the head. When mother lines are suppressed, evolution halts. This single, powerful sentence captures the massive stakes of our biological coevolution. The feminine nervous system isn't fragile, and it sure isn't a liability. It is literally the biosphere's primary repair mechanism. And the masculine system? It's its vital catalyst and protector. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a final, vital question to think about. Based on this entire architecture we've explored, from the microscopic mitochondrial seed all the way to the dendritic hinge, are we protecting the mother line or are we causing harm in our societies? Understanding this biological reality isn't just about personal health. It's about the very future and continuity of the human seed. Think about that as you go about your day. Thanks so much for learning with us.